Hello, welcome back to Lucian's Place. This is the third game in my Rating Climb series, and it is another game from that first live stream that I'm going to analyze for you. Let's get right into it. Starts with e4, knight f6, Alekhine's defense, sometimes known as Aliokin's defense. I respond e5, they play knight d5, I play d4, they play d6, and I play knight f3. At this point, it says we're in book move, but I didn't know that. I didn't really know Alekhine's defense before playing against Catch NYC. And because of this game, I actually did a little bit of research into it. Well, in this variation where you bring your knight to f3 as I did, when they take d takes e5, you're supposed to recapture knight e5, which the computer says is best. And I think that if we ran it as a normal variation, it would show it as the standard book move. But I took with the pawn. And this isn't a big deal, it doesn't give that much more advantage, but already you're going to start to see the evaluation slip, and it's because I didn't know the opening. They play bishop g4, I play bishop e2 to unpin my knight here and continue its defense of the e5 square. They play knight c6, and I'm still defending the square, so I just castle. And they play knight db4. And during the game, I took some time, about 15-20 seconds here, and I knew that I could not let them get my rook in the corner. I can see they're targeting the c2 square. If I don't move my knight out, then all that's going to happen is I'm going to leave that rook to die, and I can't let that happen. But before I did that, I made a pretty fatal error here. I traded off the queens. I should not have traded off the queens in this position because it lets them just get the open file. And now it's as if I'm playing as black and they're playing as white. They're faster in their development, and I have to take this passive position with my knight on the rim in order to protect that weak c2 pawn to keep my rook from being taken. In this position, the engine wants them to play knight takes e5, simply winning a pawn here, and I don't have very good defense of this knight, right? It's under attack twice, and yes, I have two defenders, but one of them is the pawn in front of my king. But they missed that, and the advantage that they had built up is not necessarily gone, but the game is seemingly more in my favor according to the evaluation bar over here by playing bishop takes f3. The reason this is good is even though it looks like I'm losing a pawn here, it's really just a trade because I win their pawn on b7. They play f5, which instantly gives me the advantage back. And during the game, I looked at this move, bishop f4. And the computer thinks it's excellent. And I had my mouse with my bishop hovered over this square. And the idea was target this pawn and bring this bishop back. So I had this idea, but I thought, okay, I don't know if this is the right order for it. Let me play it this way instead. And as you can see, where they gave me the advantage back, the very next move, I give them the advantage back. They find the right continuation here, and I have to take. I can't let them just be up a full piece, and now I've completely weakened my king on the g-file, and my pawn structure is ruined here. It's not very good. They play rook d5, and I knew the idea was for them to push and bring the rook over, so I respond by blocking off that square. And then they play e5. And I should have taken a little bit more time on this move. In 7 seconds, I play bishop g3. And the second I let my mouse off of that piece, I knew I had made the wrong move. I saw rook fe1, and what that does is it simply pins the pawn to the king. Because they hadn't castled yet, it pins the pawn to the king, and they probably have to take a passed defense here, because if they don't, then I'm going to take this pawn. Essentially, they have to trade off. I take here, and now I'm attacking this pawn here. I'm going to start pushing these pawns, my majority here, and I'll be set. But as you know, I did not find that, and I was very upset at myself. But life goes on. They played f4, and I thought the bishop was getting trapped here, and it is, but they didn't find the right continuation. Again, giving some advantage back, but not all the way. I have to take, and it's best. At this point, it's equal material, but my king is very weak. Even though they brought their king up, I can't easily target it because of these pawns here. So I look and I think, let me see if I can trade off a set of rooks. And I pre-move, rook f takes d1, and they don't go for it. And here the computer wants me to just kick the knight back. And I thought about maybe trading off the rook, but I didn't like them getting this really nice structure here while my king was sitting here very weak. And instead, I play the rook here. And my idea is to target this pawn. But the issue is it's very short-sighted because they simply check me, which was not what I was thinking. I figured they were just going to bring the king forward and defend. And actually, the computer just wants them to now trade off the rooks. Now that I've wasted a tempo with my f rook, moving it to e1, they want me to have to waste another tempo to bring the rook over to d1. Instead of that, as you saw, they gave me the check on g6. And here, I don't find the best continuation. I bring my king to the corner because I'm thinking about I don't want them targeting this pawn, but I should have just been willing to drop it. It wasn't worth it. I should have brought my king to a more active position, brought it in to the game to play, because given the current structure that it's hiding behind, it's not where I want to leave my king. And they play rook g5, which is a more roundabout way to defend the e5 pawn here. And I play rook d4, which is best. And to some of you, you might think, wait, you just hung a rook. But no, because just like the idea that I should have employed earlier when my bishop was attacked, this rook is pinning the pawn to the king. They play knight c6. What I should have played during the game is just simply knight c4, threatening the knight and the pawn here. But instead of that, I play rook d4, which gives black the advantage back. I'm doubling up here, but it already has two defenders, so that doesn't do anything. And I'm thinking about what can I do with my knight. Knight jumps here to target these squares, or maybe knight jumps here to target this square and at another attacker. And I do just that. And I get the advantage back. And then I give it away again. I was thinking, distract the knight here, push the pawns on the edge of the board, and I had the right idea, but I just played it with the wrong pawn. As you see, the computer wants b4 here. It just thinks it's best. And the reason is because, again, if takes, then I have two rooks on this, right? So I'm not giving up a pawn, really, because I'm going to win it right back. And I'm going to get one of their rooks off the board, and it just leaves me in a better position. But I played a4, and they played rook f5, which gives me the advantage back. And then I'm thinking, let me just trade off a pair of rooks, right? 2 rooks can easily checkmate me. 1 rook, probably not. And this move is forced, and then they play here. And again, just like before, I thought about, should I bring my king to the corner here, or more active towards the center? And at this point during the game, since it's the end game, I should have just brought my king towards the center. But I didn't, and I knew it was a mistake when I played it, and I should have taken a little bit more time, but I wouldn't be making this video if I had. Knight d4, and they're clearly attacking this, and they're attacking this. And the computer just suggests knight takes e5. It defends this, and if they take, well then I have a discovery on their king. And I didn't see this idea at all. Right? I bring the knight back to defend the pawn, and at this point I have to be okay with this pawn dropping. And they just play the knight back. They don't even take this pawn, and I don't know what this gives it, but it seems like the computer thinks it's just dead equal after they play this. But they find this, which is also fairly close to equal, but still gives them a bit of an advantage here. I play c4, which instantly gives them the advantage back, and they find the right continuation. I play b4, which isn't the worst move, but again, it continues with the idea of blocking the king out here, which is what I was going for with my c4 move. But it doesn't help the position, really. But they make a bit of a mistake and gives me some advantage back. And I'm thinking, okay, now I got to push these pawns up the board, right? Start chipping away here and hopefully get something past. And I play c5. And when I played c5, not only does it give the advantage back, but I also saw it gives a way for their king to come in. And they find it. Another great move. They bring the king in. I play the knight to c4, which completely neglects the defense of the f3 pawn, which was the point of moving it to d2 in the first place. And they take, and in this position, I resign. Mate is incoming. This mate is actually called the Arabian mate when you have this knight and rook working together to checkmate the king. And I could have stalled, right? Brought the rook here to e5, checked them. Could have brought the knight to e3 and given them a check there. Could have even brought the rook back to e1, which is actually what the computer wants, to stall the mate a little bit longer, force them to come back with the knight. But it's all lost here. So I simply resign. Catch NYC, they played a very good game, and they're a pretty good sport. They came to my Twitch chat, they saw that I was streaming, and we chatted for a bit. And going through the review was pretty crazy. I don't know if they were around when I actually did the review. Man, what a roller coaster of a ride that game was. Overall, I played with 58.7% accuracy. They played with 71% accuracy. They had a couple great moves in there, which was the pawn f4 push, I think, to block out my bishop. Yes. And then the king d5 move near the end game there that kind of sealed my fate. Overall, I played well in the opening. which is funny seeing as I didn't know how to play the opening. Middle game we played around the same. Let's see, yeah, about the same accuracy, and the end game is kind of where I threw it all away. They played pretty well in the end game, and I just made a lot of mistakes. Right? I gave the advantage back with c4, and they gave me a little bit of advantage back, and then I gave it back right away by letting their king in. And they found all the right continuations for my mistakes, and it was just GG's. It was really great having them come and join me. I hope that we'll be able to play again sometime. Overall, it was fun, and I learned a lot. If you enjoyed this content, hit that subscribe button. If you'd like to catch me live, follow me on Twitch, and join my Discord to stay up to date on any new content. All the links are down below in the description. Thanks for watching.